I'm Keasha, and it's Tuesday, November 29th. I'm on for another episode of Conversations with Keasha. It is going to be a lovely convo, let me just tell you. Today I am welcoming a special guest who happens to also be my business mentor and friend, Kadidja Yansane, and we are going to be talking about manifesting. So I'm going to bring Kadija on so that we can get this conversation started. Kadija, I'm letting you in. Let's see. There we go. Hi.
Yay, we did it.
Hey, welcome.
Thank
Welcome.
you so
Kadija.
much.
I'm so happy to have you on. I really am.
Bye.
You heard about this idea from the jump when I was like,
I know.
I'm thinking of doing this thing on Instagram and I'm gonna go for it. So I'm glad to
Follow through. That's a key piece of manifesting.
we're jumping right into it. Follow through. Absolutely. Absolutely. But before we get started, and as like Instagram is continuing to tell people that I'm live, I just want to reiterate that today's conversation is about manifesting. Business, the life, the things that we really desire. I'm excited for both of us to share some of our own practices. I know Kadija definitely has some pillars to share, but please do introduce yourself. Let the audience know who you are and what you do and why it matters.
Yes, thank you so much for having me on, Keasha. Hello, everyone. My name is Kadidja Yansane. I am a business coach to spiritually minded female entrepreneurs, including coaches, healers, guides, people who do their own unique magic that want to make a difference in the world. And through my Business Queen Academy, I help them clarify and create their signature high ticket offer, launch it out into the stratosphere, learn how they can rinse and repeat that so they can work with clients they love, like the amazing Keasha.
Yes, our paths met last year around this time. I mean, in terms of a coaching client relationship, it was the 2021. So this is like kind of a full circle moment. Did you think about that? This is like the
I
first.
didn't, but I love that you highlighted that. That is incredible. So
And
much happened in the last 365 days.
so much has happened. So I would like to start by asking you to provide your take and your own philosophy around manifesting, because you and I know, like, it is a hot topic. It's talked about a lot on the interwebs and off, podcasts, shows, the topic of manifesting. And so, can you please provide what your definition is of manifesting and manifesting?
Absolutely. And welcome, Kundalini Ari. I love her. Here. Well, yes, I think that manifesting is such a hot topic because most people are thinking about how they can create more of what they want in their lives. And, to simplify it, manifesting simply means to make your creative dream real. So you're constantly full of ideas, just like you had the idea to start this conversation with Keasha. So we get all of these ideas, these thoughts. Not everyone acts on them. But what brings it down from an idea to something I would love to do to something I'm actually doing, and I don't know how long you've been doing this series, is that we follow through on it. So to simply put, to manifest means to bring our creative visions into real life so we can touch and experiencing it in the third dimension.
I love that. And follow through. You know what? I follow through is important. And I feel like there are some key things that are at play that determine how much we trust that insight, that idea, enough to follow through. And some of the things that are necessary for us to hold that vision clear and to take that actions that will help it to manifest in this third dimension reality. Do you want to speak to what some of those
Absolutely. Well, I think, sometimes it takes practice to begin to trust yourself. So oftentimes we have these ideas and we don't follow through on it because we think it's not a good idea, or maybe you asked someone about it and they said, "Oh, I don't think that's a good idea." And part of what it is, it's like the more you begin to trust yourself, you have an idea, you act on it, you get the information, the results from it, the feel good feelings, or maybe it didn't work out and you learned from it, but the more you trust on it, the sooner you'll be able to act on those manifestations. The way that I see it, I feel like there are there's a little bit of a framework to manifesting. So the first thing is we have to be really clear on what we want. And you might not be clear right in this moment. Again, that is also something that can take time, but it doesn't always have to. And we're all coming from different places. But
Mhm.
what that you truly want, what do you truly desire in your life? Not because another coach told you it, not because so many people are experiencing it. Hi, Ali. Hi, Rochelle. So nice. Not because other people want it, but it has to be a true desire of yours. Because if it isn't, the first sign of resistance that you get, you are going to give up on it. So number one is, what do I really want right now in my life? Why do you want it? How is that going to enhance or improve your life in some way? And the second thing, once you have that clarity, is you want to write it down, or writing it down is one way. When we write things down, we're like feeling it in our minds. You're putting it someplace where you can see, because think about the new year. We set an intention and then a week later, you're like, what did I say I wanted? I forgot my goal. So you want to write it down and say it out loud to yourself, out loud in the mirror, out loud to people that you feel like you trust and can hold the container of that manifestation for you. Not,
Ooh.
yes, I'll pause there for a moment, but not to someone who's like, oh, there are already so many coaches out there, Keasha. There's so many podcasts out there. Why are you going to do that? I don't know. You're not thin enough. You're not this enough. You're not that enough. So we want to be protective of a dream. So you want to use your intuition around this. Hi, Soulful Media Inc. You want to use your intuition around when you share your sacred vision, dream, and whom you share it with, because that's really critical. Because if you're not strong enough in it yourself, people will influence you and you'll doubt yourself. So I'll pause there because I can see.
Yeah,
you
that
know
is that
that.
is so important,
Yeah.
to pause there. And for you folks who are listening, please take note of that. It's important to be intentional and protective of our dreams, the things of our heart, uh, in terms of who we share it with. Not everyone needs to know. And even with your audience, even if you're an entrepreneur with a big following, there are certain things that need that time to cook, to grow, to actually come to a point where you are able to share that. Because again, it could come by way of just other kinds of energy that can influence how you feel about your dream. And
Right.
and so I just want to say, and this is what I say when I talk about manifesting and share it with my clients and community. Um, just know you wouldn't have had that vision if you weren't capable of seeing it through.
Hmm.
So God would not have placed it on you or in you if it wasn't possible for you to achieve it.
Yeah,
So just remember that as well.
absolutely. And I'm glad you caught us live too, Soulful Media.
Hi, Self.
And the thing is, not everyone intends to put down your dream. So I'm not saying that someone could be saying something to be completely helpful, only because they've never, like, if you think of a parent or you think of someone in your life, they don't want you to get hurt. So it's not always someone's hating on the dream. It could be like, maybe they've seen you go through stuff and they don't want to see you in that position again. So I don't want to say all of those are created equal. Nonetheless, they could impact your ability to really show up for what you're wanting to manifest, because you're now you've introduced doubt into the situation. And so if something's in its early stages, we want to give it as much confidence, as much love before we feel strong enough to share it in a larger container. So the second thing we said was we want to write it down. We want to speak it out loud to ourselves, to people that we trust. And the third thing seems really obvious, is that we want to take actions that support the 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 coming of that manifestation and stay away from ones that do not. And I always say that it sounds obvious because I'll out myself. You know, there are things that I say that I want that I'm not taking action on, right? And there are things that I've done in the past where I'm like, oh, you know, I want to manifest a relationship, but are my attitudes in alignment with that? And so it's really important that you, before you say, I want to manifest, like, is there even space in your life for you to have the thing that you say that you wanted? And so since I brought up, since I brought up since I brought up relationships, you know, when I was wanting to get into a life partnership and get married and have children, I really had to examine my dating life. And I'm like, Kadija, this is not working. So are you going to keep doing all this? Or are you, and that doesn't mean we all have to do it the same way. That doesn't mean that you can't date multiple people. I was doing that at the time, but for my soul at that time, I was like, this just no longer feels in alignment with what I want to create. That might look like something different for you, but we need to take actions that support what we want. So if you want to have a certain number of people at your event, you need to take actions to get people to your event. You need to take actions to book discovery calls or whatever it is that you're wanting to create. If you want to have more Instagram followers like Keasha, or if you want to have more subscribers, there are going to be specific actions that you take that support that and ones that don't. So that was the third, right?
These are so good. Hey, I'm sorry to
No, go
interrupt. Kadisha's in a flow, and right now the time is 1:11. Yes.
I love
Uh, I thank you. Like, these are such great nuggets. So if you all are tuning in, please take note, like, do a memo, jot it down. It's one of the steps. Like, these are, and I will share it in my caption, but just in the moment to really take in what Kadisha's sharing. I feel like this is so relatable and practical and something we need reminders about, you know, for how we can manifest. So thank you for that. So step 4.
So before I get to step 4, the action piece, like I'm a Pisces, and you know, in my younger years, I really identified with that archetype of the dreamer. And so a lot of the things that I wanted to manifest, I was thinking about and I was dreaming about, but I was not necessarily acting about. So I'm going to tell on myself, like I had to learn to be someone that's like, okay, this is an idea, now let me take action on it. And I wasn't aware that I wasn't taking action on the things that I said that I wanted until you know, I started doing more personal work. And so we want to take an honest look at, does our actions, do our effort match the thing that we want to create? And I'm not saying that it has to be like hard, grueling work, but you know if you're doing the work or not. You know. So and then the fourth one, which is the toughest one, is that we want to be fully committed to what we're wanting to create or manifest. We want to be committed to our goals, but then we also have to be willing to release the outcome. You know, sometimes we expect things to happen within a particular timeline, and there are a few other things that need to happen before it's in place. So it's funny. So I saw Ali, who was on here, who's a personal trainer, right? And so I feel like personal training or health or wellness examples are always great examples, Keasha, because if someone was like, hey, I need to lose 20 pounds, or I'm trying to create my best body in 2023, and we said, oh, you know, well, how often are you working out? And you're like, oh, I'm not really working out, but I know 2023 is going to be the year. Like, I think that I could, you know, maybe be stingy with my schedule and be like, I could put in 2 hours a month. And so when you hear me say that, it doesn't really make sense. However, in other areas, people aren't aware that maybe their energy doesn't match. So their energy, meaning their attitude, not just your effort, but your ability to feel like you can have what you want, your ability to take actions on your behalf, your ability to follow through on the things that you say are important are all incredible. So I'll just quickly say those 4 things. So the first thing is you want to be really clear and take some time to do some visioning in a soulful way about like, what do I want right now? Because who you are today might be completely different than who you were at the beginning of the year. So this is something that we want to be current with on a regular basis. The
Okay.
second is we want to write it down. We want to say it out loud frequently because we are human and we can forget and are distracted. And part of the thing when you're saying things, you're writing it down over and over again, you're charging it up. You're charging up that manifestation. And there are many ways that you can charge up a manifestation, which we can talk about, Keasha. The third thing, we want to take actions that support what it is that we say our goals, our visions are, and stay away from things that aren't. So it's like if you have a full schedule of things that don't really matter to you or are taking up too much time, you're going to have to do a schedule edit and say, hey, maybe I'm going to pause on this for a couple of months so that I have enough space, like have an energetic space holder for what it is you're wanting to create, whether it's clients, income, or subscribers, whatever it is. And the
Yeah.
thing is, have faith in our timing and release the outcome while still working towards it.
Okay. All right. First of all, could you
Yes,
hear me in the phone? Because I'm like,
yes. I was like, what is that? But I was
okay, something said, Keisha, grab your pen before you go on. And I didn't listen to that. And then now I'm like, ah, but that's okay. You've said it a few times. I'm going to recap it as well. This is just also good. What I wanted to touch on, really, besides my typing sound, is the fact that the last part of what you said about trusting in that timing, also known as divine timing,
yeah,
I believe, it's like being okay in that liminal space between what you've asked for while you were waiting for what you've asked for and it showing up.
yeah,
Because we can repel those things that we want when we're so focused on why is it taking so long, when is it going to happen, and there's this like, because it creates resistance. There's a energy of a vibration of resistance, which keeps it away longer, or may cause that timing to be even longer. However, there is a buffer, and I feel a space between us requesting, deciding that what we want, and then receiving it, because there can be some shifts along the way. Like, for example, that may be of most benefit to you, because I really feel the universe is always working in benefit to support you. It's not ever to punish you or create suffering. It's in support of you and your highest self. And so, for example, I had a desire to pitch. I'm part of an organization, and I thought, wow, I've spoken at a couple of chapters. Let me focus on pitching myself to like more. And it ended up being, I had a conversation, and things were, there was a lull. Let's just say I did some outreach and I have felt a lull. And in that time, I actually have considered or have decided that my approach that I was initially thinking probably isn't the best way. And I can actually spend my efforts in a more conducive way to actually get myself in front of speaking opportunities that are paid, because this one wasn't paid initially, but the outcome of like the people in the room it would lead to. But just having that space of it not, just waiting
yeah.
on, created a new idea and a new approach. So that's an example.
Yeah, I love that we're focusing on this because I also want to acknowledge that sometimes in that liminal space while you're waiting, it's a huge space where people can feel a huge sense of doubt. Maybe you lose confidence, you start, not trusting yourself. You're wondering if this is going to work out, if you're cut out for this. And it's really important that during this time, that ahead of time, before you're in this space, that you have tools that you're going to rely on during that time. And so I've had many a times, like one of my huge manifestations this year is we bought a house in January. And this time last year, this is November, right? Um, our closing time took about 90 days. Oh my gosh, Keasha, it felt like a year. Like literally, it was one of these few times in life where I was aware of the day every day. So I was like, it's November 1st, it's November 2nd, it's November 3rd. And that is not a way to live. And so that was happening in the background, but I really had to put my attention elsewhere. And so there are times when we're in this space and it's just like, we can take advantage of times, this time when maybe things are a little slower or you're waiting on something. Like, how do you want to use that creative energy? Maybe there was something you were meaning to do at a busier point that you couldn't do, and that maybe you now have the time to. So, maybe it's a good time to focus on other things in other areas of your life, other hobbies, other things separate from business that give you life and sustenance.
Yeah.
It gives you that feeling of not waiting for the phone to ring. And so we've all had the experience, or I'm imagining, I'm 47, and those of you who are watching, you have had moments in your life where you were waiting for someone to call, whether it was a person, whether it was a job opportunity, you were waiting for something to happen. And as soon as you turned and said, hey, I'm going to go and do this other thing, something was released, like you're not holding on in tension. And then that call came through, or that money came through, or that client came through, or you came out and you're like, oh my God, I just got paid. You just got some money for an offer that
Surprisingly unexpected. You're like, oh wow.
exactly.
It happens like that.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to, rather than watch the pot cooking, we want to step away and enjoy life and enjoy life. So we are committed to what we're wanting to manifest. And then we do the post, and we don't watch it and be like, am I getting likes and comments? It's like, I did my work. Now go out and enjoy your life.
Bless you. I mean, I could just sit here all day. I'm like, yeah, I love it. I love it. Yes, it's so true. And one, a mantra that, or affirmation that I tend to lean on when I am feeling, when I find myself in that space where, when is it going to happen? Or is it going to happen? Which really became useful in 2020 during my own house buying adventure. It all worked out. And what helped me when things got a little like eek was the mantra, what is meant for me cannot be denied or taken away.
Yes.
What is meant to be. And if that thing does not work out, then there's something better.
Mm-hmm. There's something better. Love that. And Soulful Media says, plant the seed and don't watch it grow. Right. Plant the seeds and nurture it and care for your what it is that your manifestation. Like, I love doing things that offer, like, it's a demonstration. And we're in this holiday season moving into the new year. Like, I love even just finding something that feels like a symbol of what it is that you want to create. I don't know if I shared this story with you, Keasha, but about 9, maybe 10 years ago, I was really clear. I was like, I want to have a baby, right? And so I love sharing this story that I remember I was at this church, and they had a flea market. I don't know if it was a flea market, but an outdoor vendors. And I saw the cutest little onesie. It said 100% divine ingredients. And I was with my friend, and she's like, Kadija, why are you buying a onesie? I'm like, that's for my baby. I'm calling in, looking at me like, okay, all right. Like, there was no evidence that this baby was coming, but I just knew that I was supposed to get this onesie. And that is that my daughter's 8 now. But that's the first onesie that I put her in. And so I'm not here telling you to buy a onesie, but it can help to have something on the physical plane, whether it's a plant or a stone or, a picture of an ancestor, something that you feel is a tangible expression of what you want to manifest. So before we moved into this house, I got a photo frame. It was 2 large photo frames, and we didn't fill them until we moved here. But I just knew that I wanted to hang them up. And so for my current group program, a couple of years ago, I marked off Tuesdays at 10 a.m. as my group program time. And so it was like an energetic space holder. And so think about what will serve as that energetic space holder that you're then going to create like the vacuum for it to be filled with your manifestation.
Yeah, I love that. Creating the space, getting the container ready.
Yeah.
That can be done so simply.
Yeah.
And just your thing, your thing that you know, between you and the divine or you and the universe and you and
Uh,
your design. I think that's fun when we can make it, when we can play, when we
yes.
lightness into the process, that
Yeah.
flow
Uh,
even more swiftly and
yeah.
easy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're developing a relationship with this, I was going to say invisible form that's going to be that, that's another layer. So initially we talked about we have ideas and they're in this etheric realm, and then we're bringing them down. And anytime you do something, like whether it's a ritual, if that's your thing, whether it's a physical representation or a reminder of like you're calling that thing in, that you're calling that thing towards you.
And can we also just touch one more time on the releasing the attachment
Yeah.
of it? Because it's kind of like when you get caught in that, but I asked for it. Hello, do you remember? You're like continuing, and it gives off a needy vibe.
Yeah.
And the universe, you've got to trust that it's been heard, your request, your desire. So can you speak to that? Give a point or your thoughts? Your wisdom?
Yes. You want to remember, so in our manifestation process, when you're getting really clear about what it is you want around your business, around your life, you want to keep coming back to why you want it. Why is it important for you to, you know, host this event? Why is it important for you to launch your group program? Why is it important for you to bring on a certain number of clients? Why do you want to grow your community? um, when you stay, because what happens is there's so many things for us to do as solopreneurs. Our to-do list can be really long. Oftentimes you're wearing multiple hats and you can get stuck in the to-do list and the weeds of growing your business. And in that to-do list, you can be removed from like why you fell in love with this thing in the first place, why you're so passionate about it. So we want to stay connected to our why. We want to look at, if you have previous testimonials or results that people have achieved, like, wow, but look at the evidence. Keep seeing the evidence that you're moving in the right direction, because you can see evidence that you're never going to succeed if that's what you're searching for. But you can also search for the evidence that, Keasha earlier said, she said it's 111. So if you're looking at, angel numbers, if you're looking at people in your inbox saying, oh my God, that interview made such a difference. Thank you for putting this together. Or since working with you, these are the results that I've had. So it's like we want to stay focused on our work, what's our part. And whether you pray or meditate, like you just want to trust, but also see the evidence that you're moving in the right direction. And so if you find yourself stuck in the like, why hasn't it happened already? Part of our job as coaches, healers, and guides is to ask better questions. So even just the question, why am I not there yet, can sometimes be coming from a place of judgment, coming from a place of shame. A better question might be like, what would I love to do next? What is my business asking of me? Um, how can I show up in a way that'll really make a difference for my community? I mean, those are just some questions that came off the top of my head, but you want to ask yourself empowering questions so you can get empowering answers. If you ask yourself questions that are that lean more towards, why are you doing this wrong? Are you cut out for this? Then you're going to see reasons why you're not.
Mm.
Um, why am I uniquely qualified to serve my audience?
Mm.
So ask yourselves the better questions. And then sometimes you might just need help or support. Is there something that's missing? Is there a new strategy that you feel like would help take your business to the next level? Do you feel like you're needing some guidance and support and you're just kind of trying to wing it and not really knowing? These are good questions. Like, ask yourself, ask your business, like, what do you need from me moving forward? How can I complete this year strongly? So sometimes people were approaching the end of the year, and now it can be easy to beat up on yourself. I said I was going to do this and I didn't do this, and I don't even want to make a goal in 2023 because it's just going to be the same.
Mm.
As opposed to, it's not even December 1st yet. I think December 1st is on Thursday. So we still have 35 days left in the year. Like, how can you complete the year in a way that would feel really good to you?
Mm-hmm.
How do you want to show up?
Yeah.
Ask yourself questions that pull for the best out of you.
Mm. Wow, Kadija. We are at the end of our segment, and wow.
Already?
I was just thinking, we have such a captive audience. It has been consistent. I've been watching the numbers. Of course, they come and, people drop in and leave, but there was a time like it was there at that number. People
Awesome.
are captivated because so much of this, again, I feel is relevant and it's practical and it is something that we can all utilize no matter where we're at in our how well we consider ourselves to be at or great at manifesting or what it is that we desire. Thanks, Ari. Thanks for tuning in. Isn't she great? She's
So
my
great.
mentor and coach. Yeah, she's awesome.
I
um,
think it's important to realize that we're manifesting anyway. We're manifesting all the time, and that we get to be like more deliberate.
mhm,
And I think I was even thinking about this the other day. Quickly, I'll just say this, Keasha, before we close, is that I used to, when I was thinking about the new year, would be thinking about like, how can I be better? And I don't really think that I think about it that way anymore. And it doesn't mean that I don't want to get better, but I feel like it's more about how can you dial in your life and your business to be more reflective of who you are and what you want. And so part of that is editing and releasing what no longer works and serves, and focusing on the things that matter the most to you, and like it's pretty much decluttering your life and business. And then so it's not just adding more, adding more. Like we talked about creating space so that we
yeah.
actually have more space and more stamina and energy for the things that light us up the most.
Wow. So how can folks continue to like learn from you? I know you have something cool coming up that gives people more access to like this brilliance and this energy that is palpable that beams off of Kadija. How can folks
Keasha.
play?
Well, I'm here on Instagram at Kadidja Yansane, and in my link, it'll direct you to the other places I am on social. I'm on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and I have my upcoming Client Creation Queen 3-day online retreat. It's happening in January 13th through the 15th. It's online, so you don't have to leave your home. And we get together in community and my international community of healers, guides, coaches, and we do the clearing of 2022 so that we're not just building on top and moving right ahead. We're clearing the past and we're setting deliberate intentions for what we want to create in our life and business in 2023. And so we cover marketing, how you're going to monetize your brilliance, and how you can continue to feel better and charge your manifestation so that you're calling more of what you want and less of what you don't. So you can find more about that here on Instagram, the Client Creation Queen 3-day retreat. Thank you, Keasha, for letting me share.
Okay, everyone, whether you caught us live or you're catching the replay, please do watch the replay. Thanks again for tuning in to another Conversations with Keasha episode. Until next time, I'll see you here on Instagram. Bye.
Yes, manifesting. Thank you, Keasha.
Bye bye.
Bye.